Recently, I received a question from one of my students. Dr. Demartini, you've read quite a few books. Is there any tips you could give me on improving my reading to help me grow my reading capacity? And that is something that has been, I guess you could say, a priority of mine for many decades now, and that is learning and reading. So the very first thing I could advise is whatever you're reading, ask the question, how is this book, the topic or subtopics, or the content of what I'm reading or about to read, how is it helping me fulfill my highest value? What's most important to me? What I feel my mission is, my calling, the thing that I'm most dedicated to, what my life shows that's really most important to me. If you ask that question and answer that question and keep answering that question repeatedly until you get a tear in the eye, your absorption, retention, imaginative use, and active engagement of that material will go up. And I've been proving that for, 7 years now. Because whatever's highest on our value, our brain, as we take it in through reading, it goes into the thalamus and is able to go into the conscious awareness and be used and retained if we see that it's on the way, not in the way in our life, and it's priority in our life. It's interesting, if somebody was to walk down the street, they will notice things based on their hierarchy of values. Whatever's higher on the value, they'll notice more of. Whatever's low on the value, they'll not notice. So ask, whatever I want to learn and read, how specifically is this topic or content helping me fulfill my highest value? And answer that question till you get a tear in the eye. Once you do, your retention of that information and absorption and engagement in that information and desire to read that book or whatever the magazine article, whatever it may be, is going to go up. Your reticular activating system filters things out and puts you to sleep on things that aren't inspiring and puts you awake when it is. You get engaged. Most people have read a book, and when they've read a book, they can barely stay awake if they're disengaged, and they can hardly go to sleep if they are engaged. And that's because they've seen how it's helping them fulfill what's important to them or not. So that's the first one. Then you want to actually ask, what am I going to do with this? What's the purpose that I'm going to use this for? If you link it to what is valuable, you'll come up with some objective for it. Everything I read is for the sake of the evolvement of human consciousness, how to master life and self-actualize life. So no matter what field I've studied, and I've studied many disciplines, no matter what field it is, I link it to that which is most meaningful to me and most inspiring, that I want to distribute and share. If you have a purpose for that information that's involved in contributing to other people's lives and you're going to give it out to somebody, you're going to retain it. So find somebody to share it with, a student, a friend. That's why a book club is very useful, because you're now giving yourself a motive to reading it and you have somebody to share it with. The sooner you share it with somebody after reading it, the more the retention. I used to get up early in the morning and speed read a bunch of books, and that evening I would do a presentation of whatever I read. And I pre-planned the reading so I could pre-plan the scheduled talks I was doing. And that allowed me to give out the information within 20 hours or so, or 15 hours of me reading the material, and that increased retention drastically. Also, visual reading is different than reading from vocalization. Most people read only as fast as they can speak. If they're fast speakers, they're usually faster readers. If they're slow speakers, they're slower readers. Because we're taught by phonemes, we're taught by using sounds to make words, to make sentences or phrases and sentences and paragraphs. Unless you go to the visual reading, you won't actually get vastly in speed. So you might take a class. I have a class online, my Dr. Demartini Speed Reading and Learning Dynamics, to help you. That way you can probably triple your reading in a few hours. Or you can take other classes. There's many classes on speed learning and reading. And eidetic memory is where you have photographic, autographic memories together. We all have it when when the things we're reading are really engaged. So prioritize what you read, and link whatever you're going to read in content to whatever is most important to you. Have a purpose for that. Give it to somebody, share it with somebody, so you tend to have a reason for doing it. If you have a client that's asking you a question and they want you to read something, you'll read it for a purpose. Anytime you have a purpose for your reading, it tends to go more into your brain and more applied. And the more you use the information, the more you're going to retain it. So that's one. But you can use a visual guide to help you master the ability to keep on the line when you're reading. A visual guide is much more effective than just reading randomly. If your eyes can't even stay on a line to have a focal fixation on the words, but if you use a visual guide along the lines, you'll tend to get more information. Or if you go down the page and allow peripheral vision to take in more information visually. So use a visual guide when you read, have a purpose for it, have the temperature around 72 degrees, room temperature, cool a bit. Make sure you have water to drink, not something that makes you go up and down in blood sugar. Make sure that you have, fresh air, because you need oxygen to keep awake. CO2 can just put you to sleep. Make sure you sit up straight when you read. These are all helpful on the reading and learning capacities. Don't try to do it while you're lying down, and find the day and time of the day where you're most engaged and use that as a reading time. But wise thing to do is have a meaningful purpose for why you're reading the material and link it to what's really valuable to you. All of those will help you in the reading capacity. I could go further on it because I could teach a whole course on it, one day course on it. But I'll just give you some highlights. That will help you in your reading capacity. Have something deeply meaningful that you want to fill your mind with. We all want to learn what's meaningful to us and find something that's meaningful to you, but want to share with other people. If you share it with other people and make a difference in other people's lives, it'll help you engage in it. It'll help you have a reason for learning it. It'll help you remember the information to make a difference in people's lives.